G'day ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday the 4th of March here in Australia and welcome back to the Wraeclast. Not so weekly, but that's okay. We'll bring the show to you guys whenever we can, whenever we have a good quality show lined up. So with me today I have, as usual, Arioc, the brains behind the operation, and we also have a special guest, Morse, or Moresexier. So how are you going, Morse?
Good. Morse is fine. That's I don't need the honorific at the whole time. Morse is fine.
The honorific, fantastic stuff.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking all about races. So we're going to be talking race strategy, about the seasons, the new seasons program, some of the news in regards to racing, and probably a bit about the 1 week race as well. So you may have noticed we don't have cams this week. We're going cam free. We're all currently naked, so we don't want to switch on the webcams. And instead, I'm just going to be showing some relevant footage and background stuff for you guys to look at, or you can just listen to the audio in the background, listen to our soothing and pleasant voices. So let's kick things off. Morse, have you been playing in the 1 week race, mate?
I actually have. I've already died on my Ranger on Piety, so that was a good learning experience. Helpful tip: don't do Piety with 600 health. She will kill you. And so I've been convinced to do... I was thinking about doing Crip's man mode, so I'm doing it right now. I'm actually playing as we're speaking right now, and I'm 22, so I'm not doing too bad. So
you're a pretty serious racer, man. Just to bring up some footage here on the background for people to see. Morse is currently number 1 on the race season 1 ladder with 176 points, mate. You've got you're just about to your face breakers. Are you pretty excited?
I am pretty excited. The new sort of I guess it's unique in-game art and the icon in game. I kind of like it. I mean, maybe some people think it's sort of cheesy, but I kind of like having those things. That's what sort of part of the reason I get motivated to race. At least that's what I think.
It does seem pretty cool to me, I must admit. And with the face breakers and the fancy art for it and all that, and you're gonna make a face breaker build with your fancy new face breakers?
Well, I want to. I was sort of disappointed back when I think it was build of the week like 9. The guy Mike Tyson had that crazy build, and they were basically like, "Well, you broke the game, so we're gonna nerf it." So I'm gonna have to see if I can do something with it.
Good stuff. All right, Arioc, have you been racing or playing in the 1 week race at all? I know you've been on holidays just recently. I've just gotten back, yeah.
Yeah, vacation. I just got back, so I just took some sleep before doing this. I haven't had time to do anything.
So are you planning on doing the 1 week race then? Just starting a little late?
I don't have enough time. I don't know. I'll check. Maybe if the reward is good enough, I might make like a character to 70 and then stop.
Well, I'm probably going to butt in right there and say that it doesn't look like the reward for the 1 week race is that huge. So let's sort of segue into this idea of this melee solo man mode smash rule set, the custom rule set that's happened, which I think is really cool. But basically, do you want to explain that more since you're about to start doing that? You think?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so basically, Crip, I believe in discussion with Rox and some other people on his usual mumble, I think is how he described it, came up with the idea to have a race where you is all self-found, solo, you cannot trade, you can only use melee skills. And, he goes into his post, he delineates exactly what that constitutes, meaning lightning strike, even though it has a ranged component, is still a melee attack, so that's fine. Things like that. There's way too many skills to say, but basically ground slam is fine, sweep, lightning strike, lightning arrow is not okay, etc. Anything you can think of that sort of has a ranged component would not be allowed, and you basically just try to progress as far as you can. And it's actually really cool. This website, Exile Stats, has the guy somehow put together a tracker. So if you have Smash in your name in any form, it will track you on a ladder specific to Crip's sort of sub 1 week in the overall 1 week. So.
Yeah, I've actually just pulled that up, and the site there and the tracking, and it's got the graphs and everything. It's got the list of everyone with Smash in their name. Pretty impressive tech to be able to pull that out, and just a good move on their part. Like having these sorts of custom leagues in the game, I feels really cool and really fun, and it's a good thing for the community to get centered around, and having a site that also tracks that, so people can compare people following the rule set and see how they're doing against each other. I don't know. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, Chris has said that they are going to add this stuff in, and I'm very excited for all these sort of custom leagues. I mean, I'm drawing a blank now, but the PvP league, Cutthroat.
Yep.
I am so excited for the permanent Cutthroat league. I am a member of Alpha, so I get some of the inside information, which is fun. And I haven't heard anything yet, and I have harassed them a bit because I'm very excited for it. So hopefully we see that soon.
So that seems pretty cool stuff. What was I going to say about that? Oh yeah, so I guess this idea has sort of happened because the rewards for the 1 week race aren't really that impressive. I'm seeing a lot of more serious racers saying that they'd rather opt for instead just playing for all of the shorter races during that time. If I pull up the actual the schedule, you're missing out on something like multiple 3 hours, 4 hour races, a few 1 hour solo races, and things like that. Missing out, on a week's worth of races essentially, which you could accrue a lot more points in a lot more easily without staying up 24/7. So
Right.
You could just do everything.
yeah,
If you're really hardcore.
did 1 week race as well.
Yeah, one weekend the other ones. Why not?
Well, the thing is, it seems like it's 1 to 500 people who end up within that range in the 1 week race will get reward points, and it scales down pretty low. People between 200 and 500 on the leaderboard only get 2 reward points, which for a week's ladder isn't really much towards the overall ladder thing, it seems. Do you feel like that's what do you feel about this system, Arioc?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been a big fan of the 1 week races ever.
Yep.
So I can't really say it because this just doesn't really fit my kind of play. Where I can make enough time to play for maybe 3 or 4 hours at once. But when it comes to the 1 week, you have to make room for 8, 9, or even more every day. So I've never been a big fan of it. Before, when I used to race, you got the currency rewards, right? So it wasn't a problem just leveling to 70 and then just getting that amount of currency, and you didn't have to worry about someone passing you, because you got to 70, you will get this amount. Now I think it's the problem with this 1 week. They should make a system which is somehow like that, so people are awarded for level and not for number 1, because it kind of takes away for those who can't play as much. So I'd rather have it you get 40 points if you reach level 70, for example.
Yeah.
I think that would be a better system than what we have now.
Do you agree with that, Morse?
Well, it's an interesting point, and I tend to, whatever I think about it, I try to read what Chris says, and I believe he said that they wanted to make it so it wasn't so compelling that people like me who try to participate in all the races that they can felt compelled to have to do it. So and I agree with Arioc. What he suggests would be much more compelling, and then I would be much more about, hey, I really want to level and hit 70 and everything like that. But I do agree with Chris's point. This way, I really don't have to play, because I know, for instance, in the 1 week where I got 5th, which was I think in August, I played 63 hours, I think, and I thought my eyeballs were going to fall out. I thought that was the craziest thing. And then they doubled my time in I think the Christmas 1 week when Crip got 2nd. I'm not sure what his final, the Crip 1 week, 120 hours. So, knowing that I can't compete with that, I like this system, though I think they could make it a little more compelling. And I hope in the future the points are more towards what Arioc is saying, and I think that they will. I mean, GG is always very responsive to whatever the player base wants or needs or desires. So, if this is a little underwhelming, they will absolutely adjust it. So perhaps this one is not so great, and we've got the man mode thing perhaps to make up for it for now. So,
yeah, that's it, I think, because having it be a less serious thing at the moment, it allows people to develop these custom leagues. Until custom leagues are actually officially put in the game, it allows people to do these more fun things, and I think they're going to be really popular. I know this melee man mode thing's already really popular. On Exile stats, you can see something like 759 people are doing that with Smash in their name. That this program's picked up. There could be even more, because I'm pretty sure I wasn't on the list, even though I've been playing it as well.
Right. So I mean, it's clearly very popular. So that and I think that seeing how many people are doing Crips League will perhaps make GGG. And what I really like about them is they'll go, well, instead of adding that scorpion pet, we're going to work on adding this league thing because wow, look at the response.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They also, Chris said in the actual official thread that Criparian made for this, I can actually scroll down to his response here. He said something like, the data from the dedicated melee play will be useful for us in shaping melee changes they're making. So that's pretty exciting as well. They're able to, look at this and actually pull some interesting game information about how people play melee and, what they might need to adjust in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty cool stuff.
I think there's going to be a lot of leap slam.
Yeah, I've been flicking between a few streamers. I've been seeing quite a few people leap slamming. There's a lot of people doing the general sort of ground slam things, but I'm seeing sort of like a few duelists and things crop up. I even saw something like a couple of people playing witches. Interestingly enough,
probably the elemental cleave witch.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm playing, but as a Templar. So yeah, but the witch starting, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. You have to be very man mode to be a witch. Although I really like the witch ground slam and melee attacks animations personally.
That's something I've never even seen, so I'll have to check that out because it sounds pretty entertaining.
The problem with going witch cleave is your rewards just suck. You have to be really man mode to do that in 1 week.
Yeah, without trading.
Yeah. Oh god.
It sounded like apparently Criparian was multi-boxing it, like having a few characters level at the same time. Is that what most people are doing?
Well, I think so. He was talking about how he didn't want to. He wanted the no trading to be pure. So, but he acknowledged that the way the system is set up, they do want you to trade. So, for instance, you need faster attacks or something, and you don't get it, or wrath or anger or some aura. So it's perfectly fine for you to multi-box and have your character come in for the Brutus kill. And trade that gem, put that gem in your stash and equip it. So, and I think that's the right way to approach it because you can't hamstring something like Marauders. If you will go ground slam, they get every gem they could ever want. But if you're Templar or Witch, you're not going to get every gem. So how do you get anger or wrath? So I think that's a pretty fair way to do it. Yeah,
you kind of have to work within these constraints. I've seen a few people, taking this idea as well and just making their own modified rule sets. Like, I've got some friends that have decided, they really want to play together, but they also really want to do this. So they're having a group of people that are only doing this, like, melee man mode sort of thing, but they're playing in a party and, only taking the drops that have their names on them and things like that. So there's a lot of, like, flexibility in, how you go approach it and things like that.
Yeah, of course, and that's what makes the game so great is that it's open to all these things. And then you have a really good idea, you could make it a league at some point, and then it would be official. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing things like that. So let's move on to in more general news, the new seasons approach. The season's been going for 2 weeks now, I think it is. Is it 2 weeks?
I believe it's 2 weeks as of today, maybe.
Yep. So it's been going for 2 weeks, but we've got this new race season, and it's a pretty interesting, setup. Overall, like in closed beta, we didn't have this season thing at all. We just had the occasional race, and they had their own currency rewards and things like that. So there's a lot of changes in terms of rewards and general setup. So let's take a look at the reward system. Basically, you get these points that you accrue through racing. We've seen on the various races, how you get some through the week race and you get some through the shorter races as well, based on how well you play and what levels and things like that you reach. So in addition to your rewards from the actual race, you get these race points, which contribute to this overall score. And we have these uniques. What do you guys think about the uniques, Arioc?
I don't know. I don't feel really compelled towards any of them except that coral ring, which is it item level 100? That's what I heard.
Yes.
They all are.
Yeah. So that's probably the only compelling reward for me.
For anyone who doesn't understand the significance of that, do you care to explain?
Yeah. Basically, if an item is very high item level, you can get the higher stat rolls on it. For example, I think it's 74 for the highest increased elemental damage roll. Don't quote me on that, but it's something around 74, 75. So of course you'd want a higher item level ring to be able to get the higher stat rolls on it. So that's basically it.
It also sounds like they're future-proof essentially, because when they add additional levels in terms of item mods, being eye level 100, it's always going to be able to roll those additional mods, so you can keep crafting with this in the future. So basically, this is going to be very valuable. What do you think about it, Morse?
I definitely agree. I mean, and I agree with Arioc in that the uniques themselves, for people who aren't sort of a collector like I am, on their face, they're just sort of a unique you can get in game. I mean, they do have the different artwork, which I like. Um,
Sorry.
but that's okay. But the coral ring, definitely. And you know, I posted a thread on Reddit at some point about what I think about crafting, and I stupidly put 10 chaos into the coral and didn't get a single good roll, which is probably a bad and dumb thing to do. But I really wanted to see if I could get a 75 level ring or something like that, with 45 to all resists or whatever. So I'm looking forward to when they add the new mods for the higher levels and then being able to roll this ring. I think it could be very valuable for whatever build you're doing.
Did you say you already have the coral ring? I didn't realize they were awarded as you go. Is that the case?
Yes, I have the coral ring and I have the gold rim, which I think is the 120 reward. Yeah, so I have them both.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. So what do you think, in terms of rough estimate of value, these coral rings will be worth to people?
Wow, that's a good question. That is something I had not considered.
I think the problem with saying that is you don't really know yet how many people are going to have it.
Yep.
Right.
Which is just going to estimate the price. If a lot of people can reach the score needed for it, then it's not going to be worth that much because everyone already has one.
Right.
But of course, it has worth because of the item level. But then again, it's not going to be worth much more than any other 75 item level ring, because there are no higher rolls than that. We can't really make use of the 100 item level rolls.
Yeah.
So you can't really account for it, because essentially having it over 75, if that's where the mods stop getting higher, then there's no point in having a 100 when it's just like a 75 for now, of course.
Right. And I think that the key thing is that in the ideal set of gear, a coral ring is the best ring, because with the changes to ring mods, meaning that 79 is the highest life roll you can roll in a ring, in every single mod and every single piece of your gear is perfect. That means the base you would want is not prismatic, because it's actually easy to cap resists versus obviously life you can't ever cap. So I think that the ring would have a value, just like any other high level coral, basically. And perhaps you'd pay a small premium because it is the unique artwork and the potential in the future to be re-rolled even higher.
Yep.
But I think Arioc's right. It's not going to be, it's not like an old Demigod, which is still worth a ton and perhaps only going to increase in value.
Yeah. So do you think in future seasons they'll be changing these rewards, like having, instead of a coral ring, something else, another type of white item?
Well, I've heard the suggestion that they're going to make a Demigod set. Now, I mean, this is just, I don't know, people's speculation or people hope that they do this. I think that would be awesome. I think it'd be pretty awesome if we got, so this is a coral. I mean, the thing with the coral is that's easy. So I think that's obvious why they picked the ring first, because how do you give people boots when there's, whatever, 50 types of boots out there that people would use? So, I don't know how they're going to work that out. If we got something like this for every slot, I personally think that would be really cool. A high item level that you can roll for whatever character, however they did that. I don't know how they'd accomplish that, but...
So on that note, let's talk about the Demigod's Triumph, the new unique golden wreath. I haven't actually even seen it yet. I've heard what the stats are, but do you guys have maybe a link to a picture of it? I know you probably have some more, so I'm pretty sure.
I do. And if you're not online, I don't know if you're online. I could. Let's see. I don't even know.
I'm not online. Maybe.
Whatever.
I guess I could or something.
I could take a picture. Yeah.
Let's go.
Google.
That'd be great. Cheers.
Yeah. I mean, it looks kind of like a Roman wreath that you would wear. I mean, that's about the best way I could describe it. I'm going to take a picture in game and upload it to Imgur in case you don't find one.
Great.
It's interesting because these, for me, it's sort of interesting. It's just kind of like your notch on the bedpost, as all these things are. I mean, they're never useful end game. And I think that's really smart, and I really like that. You don't get an advantage from having these things. These are just your vanity item. And some people think that they're worthless, and that's fine. That's their opinion. I really like them, and I'm more than happy to trade one for a really awesome item if somebody had something I really wanted. So
I haven't seen the art in game for it though.
Ah, cool. You've sent me a link here. I'll bring that up.
Yeah, just the unique item list. There's one there.
There we go. Demigod's Triumph. I got it. Yeah. So 17. All random all attributes roll on a helmet, life regen, and rarity of items found. So it has some applications maybe in item finding, but overall not a particularly useful item in terms of mods.
I think this idea of having the demigod set would be kind of cool, because if you had all these demigod items, the stat they have in common is increased item find of some kind. So it'd be kind of cool, to have this entire set of demigod items and have a huge item find, stat pool with all the items.
So yeah, this one's also got the unique the golden radiance. So they're obviously using the new effects and things like that as well in the actual helmet, like permanently applied to that, is it?
Yes. So in game, you look like you are sort of pulsing with golden radiance. That's very descriptive for me. But it is a pretty cool effect in game. It's actually, I like it. I want this effect on my normal helm. I wish that was a part of. I mean, perhaps that would be unfair, but I wish part of winning a race was that you got this microtransaction effect to put on your helmet.
I mean, they could always sell that or something, but maybe they want to keep it as like an exclusive for the race winners.
There's no point in making it, because you make a unique item with this effect, and then you can buy this effect. Then what's the point of the item? Kind of reduces the demigod even more.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
That's it. So another thing that I've heard, Chris mentioned in a recent blog, was that they plan on also adding an additional set of rewards for people that win the overall race or place highly in the overall race. So considering that's fairly relevant to you, Morse, being rank 1 at the moment on the season ladder, do you have any ideas of what that is or what you'd like to see out of that?
Well, somebody had they were of the opinion that it was going to be the same helmet, the Demigod's Wreath, but with a different effect or different color or something. Personally, all I really care about is that it is something that is truly unique. If they're doing it just for the top 20, meaning you've participated in an ungodly amount of races over the course of eight weeks or whatever this is, it is something that only 20 people have, and I think that would be a really cool. That would be a really cool thing. I mean, I've traded some of my old demigods for things, but I would never trade something like that, because that would be, significant that I was, in the top 20 of the race season. Now, does that necessarily mean that I'm one of the best racers? I don't know. It could mean that I played a lot, and I'm fine with however you want to label it. That's fine. I still like that I got this unique thing. So whatever it is.
So the Demigod's Triumph is, it's like somewhat exclusive, but with the sheer amount of races that you do and the sheer amount of opportunities to win it, most people who try seriously are eventually going to get one. So I kind of understand why you, feel like that would be a good reward to have for the top 20 season overall winners, and maybe they could even change it each season so that it was something you could only ever have once.
Yes, I hope that's what they do. I mean, that tends to be how they operate, just based on we went from an amulet to a helm. From closed to open, so I'm hoping that they continue with that trend. So,
yep. So, did you have any thoughts on that, Arioc? What would you like to see out of it?
It's pretty much on the same page as Morse.
Yeah, I feel like most people will probably feel like it should be something like that. That's not a huge actual in-game advantage or an in-game prize, but more something exclusive and showy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
The kind of problem with that is who would you show it to? There aren't a lot of people in town, so.
Right? That's true, but I guess it's it's just the feeling of having it as well.
There isn't a lot of opportunity for flashing anymore.
Maybe in PvP, when you're really dominating PvP, you can wear your Demigod's Triumph in there just to show off.
I like it. I like that idea. You make it a level 28 character and you just wear your Demigod stuff and you don't care if you win or lose. You're just a huge guy rolling around.
That's it.
I like that.
Maybe with enough demigods set, you'd have a massive character if they keep adding on the increased character size and things like that.
I'm kind of sad they changed the magnate. It was increased character size before. So you could have like 30, and you can look really huge.
Did you say
Yes,
they changed that?
Yeah, the belt is now increased flask charges gained. It no longer increases your size.
Oh wow, I didn't know
So
they
it's
removed that.
That's kind of sad because I was trying to purchase a Magnate in closed beta for months, and I could not. I mean, obviously the inflation was a bit higher, but I was offering 20 exalteds or some ridiculous amount of currency, and no one would sell it because obviously it was really cool. But I wanted to see my character with the amulet and the belt, and now it's gone. So I'm sad, but that's okay.
Size. I guess they must have done that to make the triumph, sorry, the presence a bit more impressive, I guess, since it would be the only thing with that stat, the only thing that could increase your size. Yeah. It seems like with them doing the increased size on the amulet, the golden effect on the helmet, that if they do add other demigods set items, they'll each have some sort of unique effect, and I guess that would make for a really impressive looking thing if you had the entire set later on down the track.
Well,
We need
obviously,
more glow.
we're hoping obviously that the next item is the Demigod pants, and its special effect is you're actually wearing pants. So I think that we're all pushing for that, and we'll see what Chris does.
Petition
What
Chris.
kind of pants do you want?
Well,
Like,
that's
is it
true.
like Manchester or jeans or
No, that's right. Because according to Chris, it wouldn't be pants; it would be a kilt. So I'm fine with that. It's Demigod kilt.
That does
I'm
make
fine.
more sense thematically, I feel.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
But
does.
maybe he'll just troll you guys with some fishnet stockings or something like that.
Well, fishing is a part of the game if you get 10 row of feathers.
That's it.
So,
You can always,
Oh, I only have
exactly.
one.
yeah, well, you got to get 9 more. So
you've seen the video of the albino kiwi that you can get if you get 10 albino rower feathers?
I feel like that is a troll from somebody who had to edit game files, but I can't confirm or deny what's going on because I haven't seen it in game. So.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident that's a troll video, but entertaining nonetheless. I've had multiple people ask me about it.
Yeah, it's against my NDA agreement to discuss fishing with you guys.
Right. Alpha.
Right.
Yep.
So, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Got it. Sorry, I won't press you guys on that anymore. So, on that note, we've finished talking about like the new season's rewards. I want to talk a bit about the old season rewards, since they moved away from this currency, and there was a lot of discussion about this in the community, on Reddit, on the forums. People on either side of the fence, they love the new system, or they loved the old system, or they didn't want to see the old system go. But basically, the old system was a bunch of currency whenever you run a race. So it would be something like 120 random currency items for some of the bigger races. I think it was something like that. And they were randomly rolled when you got your new character. It was like unwrapping a present when you got into the game. So I can sort of understand the excitement. But I guess it had its own issues with inflation and things like that. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that, whether it was a bad thing to have in the game, whether it was a bad system, what you liked about it or anything like that. What do you feel about it, Arioc? How did you feel about the old reward system?
Like first I want to confirm that I think it was 6 months or 8 months ago now when I first started racing, you could get all the kind of orbs like Exalted and Blessed and all the high end orbs like Regals, Divines. But when I raced later on, which was right before closed beta, you couldn't get those rewards anymore.
What was it instead? Just lower tier currencies?
Yeah, the lower tier currency. I
Okay.
think. Can you confirm that, Morse? That was
Yes,
like
so
that?
they changed from so let's just take his 120 currency reward. So you would get, if you got 120 currency, you would get anywhere from 10 to 20 exalteds, and then 15 GCPs and just crazy amounts of currency. And then they changed it to they wanted, I guess, to not ruin the economy after a reset. So you were getting 35 armor scraps and 10 blacksmiths and maybe one exalted, 1 GCP, stuff like that. So that, I don't remember the exact time that changed. I'm thinking September, October, but I'm not 100% on that.
So that hints at what the issue with the old system was. Do you want to elaborate on that, Arioc? Because you have told me before your feelings on the old system.
Yeah, I don't know. I was super rich before. I think it was kind of nice though. Like I was exalting like level 30 items. I didn't really care. I had so many exalteds. I was on closed beta, in closed beta I was on my legacy character, and I was such a hoarder back then. I didn't really want to use the items I had because I thought, I'll save this for something good. Then I never found anything good, so I was just there and checking. I had like 50 regals and something like 30 or 40 exalteds and
Do you feel like
4 or 5
racing,
stacks of divines.
Did you feel like racing was a really good way to obtain wealth back then with that system?
It was the best way.
Yep.
For, you know, you could spend, what was it, 3 hour, there was 1 3-hour race every week. So I used to race, it was every Saturday, I think, Saturday evening. You could basically sit down every Saturday, spend 3 hours, get to level 20, and you'd probably get an exalted orb. So it was the best way to spend your time to get some currency. Though exalteds were not worth as much back then.
Yep. And do you feel that that's related to that?
Yeah, of course.
With the huge amount of inflation.
There was a huge inflation. I wasn't that on with trading back then, so I wouldn't really know what stuff was worth. But I had a lot of currency. I think mostly because I didn't trade. I was more self-found back then. Of course, there wasn't a lot of people trading because it was closed beta. Back then, we didn't have as many people playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, the inflation was pretty insane.
So how did you...
Especially for people winning races.
Yeah, that's it. So how did you feel about the currency rewards, Morse?
Well, so the interesting thing was if you did really well in a 1-week race, I think the first 1-week race I participated in, the level cap was 76, and everyone at the top 10, myself included, basically hit 76, and I think that was 240 or 480 currency. I mean, it was an obscene number, and I got 50 exalteds, I think, from that race. So the best way I can describe it to people if they want a comparison is whatever you would trade 3 chaos for right now in hardcore, because I don't know default trading right now, but I do trade a lot on hardcore. It would be 3 exalteds in closed, roughly. So, you know, and the ratios are about the same as what they were in closed. It was 13 chaos to an exalted. So basically, it was 40 chaos for what you would pay for something on normal open hardcore right now. The economy, you'd pay 3 chaos. So that's a huge inflation when you really think about it. And obviously, I see why they had to change it, because that's a runaway train. And if they had, I don't know, 20,000 people participate in a race and everyone gets 40 currency, you know, that just obviously would break the economy. It is disappointing a little bit, because I liked getting the currency, because then you could roll things. And, you know, one thing, so when I posted the thread about crafting on Reddit, the big thing I talked about was I had 120 exalteds by the end of closed beta on my legacy. Well, actually, I think I had to like consolidate, so I killed characters and moved everything around. So I wanted to test how often an exalted actually worked out for what I wanted. So I had 120 exalts, and 5 of them turned out good of the 120. So that's my opinion of crafting. But of course, unless you have 120 exalts, you can't blow them all and have fun. I had a lot of fun doing that for like 3 hours. Probably the most fun I've had in the game in a long time, because that was just really awesome. Just all that currency poof in, you know, a matter of minutes. And they don't let you do that right now, so you have to be more stingy. And that, you know, it's probably the type of thing where it's like a drug, and I was on the drug in closed beta, and now I'm off. And I'm sure it's the same for Arioc. So it's like we're in withdrawal right now. People who didn't experience this, they don't really care because they didn't live through that. So I think that they made the right choice, although personally I'm disappointed about it. I wish we got currency.
It's like when I crafted my bow, I just wanted that feeling back, and then just Crip ruined it.
Exactly.
Rolling just crap. So
I really like the way you explain that, with it being like on a drug. And I was around in for closed beta, and even me then, I had way more currency than I had now, and I've been playing a lot more now in open beta. It's just, you know, you do have, as you said, it feels much more stingy now, because currency is just, inflation isn't what it was in closed beta. And I guess, as you said, that's something they needed to change. But